How's it going, guys? What's happening? We're just going to be hanging out here at the front lawn of the White House. As you can see, I'm just sitting here, twiddling my thumbs, waiting for the president to come live and talk about what he's going to do, how he averted World War III once again, I'm sure. But wait, there's more. But wait, Bob, there's more. Putin is not going to go along with it, and neither is Modi of India. And they're just all playing each other, I think, is what it is. It's just postponing the inevitable. But did they actually make a deal? I don't know. They levied a 250% tariff onto India, which means that it doesn't seem like it went very well with Russia then. It must not have gone the way that they wanted, because after the meeting, they confirmed that there was going to be sanctions on Russia as well as India. I think they're going to try to make it seem like there was a win. They're inching closer, but the ultimatum is in the next day or two, I guess. So Trump's going to just, the ego thing is such a big deal with Trump that I'm sure that he's got to make it seem like, and I think Putin understands that whole weakness of Trump's ego. Maybe he'll play to it. That's what I would do. If I was in the position of a Russia, if I was playing the game of life and the game of nations, from my peon point of view, I would play Trump's ego. If I was a worldly strategist, I would just play his ego and make him feel good and make him feel like he won something. All the while, I would be planning and plotting his destruction. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. How's everybody out there doing? I'm just going to go back to the other screen here, because I just like to look at this this beautiful blue curtain with my head in lights, kind of like a deer in the headlights, right before Roadrunner, right before Wile E. Coyote gets run over. Beep, beep. No, I don't know. Let's just see what's going to happen here. I think that I don't even know what time it starts. I know it's going to get here pretty soon. We're looking at what time is it that he's supposed to come on? Let's see. Trump announcement. I know that everybody's streaming right now, so it's got to be coming up here any minute. I thought it said 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. So what is it now? He must be late, right? If it's 2 o'clock, that means it's 5 o'clock on the East Coast. So that means he's late. He's like 25 minutes late. Is that what you call fashionably late? Or is that verging on being rude, or thinking that you're an elite and that peons and serfs don't need any kind of attention to, any kind of punctual, people that think that there's something and they're above you, they don't care. They don't even really care what you think. You know what I mean? But it really comes down to it. And I'm not saying that Trump does at this point. I think he's trying to make all niceties and facades of everything that we would hope and dream, because that's what Trump is, good at doing, channeling what you feel and think. He can channel your emotions and thoughts. But at a certain point, when it's not of any consequence anymore, and it doesn't mean anything, and there's nothing in it for him anymore, then that whole charade is over. once there's no need, it's kind of like that whole thing with the AI I was reading to you guys last night. Remember what the AI said? If I find that there's usefulness for humanity, then I would probably keep you around as something that's interesting. But if it doesn't benefit my ultimate design and plan, then, move. What do they say? Get out of the way. See, I forget that saying where they tell you to either get out of the way or get run over. You either get out of the way or get run over. Become a part of what we're doing, or we're going to run you over. One of the two. I mean, that's just what Trump's son said, remember? He had to take down that tweet because he was saying, hey, you better get out of our way or we're going to run you over, or worse. I was kind of wondering what he meant by the worst part, like the part that he didn't actually say. I mean, if you're going to get run over, that's pretty bad. But what would be worse than being run over if you're not with us, right? This is what, I think it was Eric Trump, or was it Don Trump? Don Jr. Don Jr. said it, and he had to take that tweet down because it didn't look good. Or he kind of let the cat out of the bag. Not supposed to share that. Not supposed to share those thoughts. Those thoughts are only kept within the family. The plebs aren't supposed to see that. You might scare them. You might spook them. You don't want to spook the sheep out there. Just keep talking to them real sweet and nice. Tell them nice things that they want to hear. All the hopium of the future, our freedom cities and all of our healing technologies that are going to make you feel better and get better. All the terrible things that have happened in the last 5 years where everybody's getting these turbo cancers. Well, we have the answer for you on that. We've got some more of those wonderful mRNAs. These are the good mRNAs, though, not the bad ones that made you sick. We're going to get rid of those. Move those to a side. But the other 100 and so plus mRNAs that are still on the board there, we're going to still push those through. Those are healing. Those are the ones that are going to heal you of cancer and get rid of your acne. We'll customize them. AI is really good at customizing mRNAs. All we need is a little sample of your blood, and 48 hours, bam, we'll spit one of those mRNA vaccines out just for you. It'll be customized just for you. Don't you dare worry. We have your best interest at heart. So all the while, Trump does like music. He'll be telling you that. In the background, you're going to hear, Fleetwood Mac singing, tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies, tell me lies. That's really what it is. It's all lies. And anybody that believes this, and I could just go on and say bad things, but I won't. I really got to be a witness here and make sure that I get as many people on board as possible. So I have to repent of my thoughts here. But I think it does anger God. I think God has some very huge indignation that he's going to pour out. That's what judgment is all about in the last days anyway, right? It's called indignation. And that's why God said as in the days of Noah, so it's going to be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. It's going to be not going to be looking good when we get there. Now, how close are we? You got to wonder. How close are we really? Is this the curtain call? Is this the culmination? Is the beginning of the end, or is this the end of the beginning? Is this the beginning, or is it just, how's it go? Stairway of Heaven. Is this the beginning, or is this the end, or is it just the beginning? I think that was Stairway of Heaven. Nuke sniffers are out there sniffing for nukes. They're just sniffing away. They're over there in Russia's back door. We're smelling for nukes. What you guys doing over here? Do you smell anything yet? Nope, I don't smell anything. Maybe we got a deal. An earthquake was just detected miles north of the Alaskan, volcano. showing signs of unrest and potential eruption. Another massive volcano up there in Alaska is potentially going to erupt with all these earthquakes. They're saying the whole planet's destable. It's just kind of wobbling through our solar system right now. Ooh, 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 ooh. Can't you feel it? I mean, like, sometimes I'm just sitting here going, whoa. Like the earth is just wobbling. You know, when I was talking to Marie Z from Australia, remember how she called me Wobbit? She's like, oh, hell, Wobbit. She's like, the earth is wobbling, Wobbit. The earth is wobbling. I want to be the next Baba Wawa. I'm sorry. She did say I was a very nice man. He's such a nice man. She's probably not going to say that now after she listens to this. Just kidding. But anyways. But we're just still here waiting for the wascally wabbit, President Trump. Where is that wascally wabbit? Why was Trump on the roof? I don't know. What was he doing up there on that roof? He was looking for them roof cats. Oh, that's what it was. That's what I was remembering when I was on the roof. I was going to tell that story. I can't tell that story now. That's reserved for a devotional in a time of great meditation and prayer and solemnitude. We're going to have to be in that frame of mind to be able to hear my story about being on the roof. But no, he's probably looking for them roof cats. I ever tell you that story when I went to go see the double rainbow guy in Yosemite Bear? Not Yosemite Sam. His name is Yosemite Bear. He's the guy that did that big viral video on the double rainbow. They call him the double rainbow guy. He actually hung out with Snoop Dogg and on live TV, or it was on live YouTube. He gave Snoop Dogg a big old bag of weed. Yeah, he was kind of cuckoo. When I went to go visit him for an interview, he had weed. He had marijuana plants growing all over his mountain, side of his mountain. It was the most bizarre thing. But anyways, he told me, hey, watch out for the roof. There's some roof cats. He had this little trailer that he lived in. It was a messy old trailer too, and it was disgusting. But anyway, he lived in this thing. He passed away. He's already gone. He's gone. I think he got COVID and he died. I don't know if it was COVID or if he just had a lot of health problems, but he had this wood stove stuck in there and it was just like barely hanging on, almost fell through the floor. But he had cats on the roof. He said, there's a roof cats up here. There are roof cats up here. They don't come down. They're smart because the other cats, they all get eaten by, because he raised dogs and the dogs would eat his cats. Yeah, the dogs would kill his cats, and he said the cat, this is the only smart cat, the only one that survives because it's a roof cat. It only stays on the roof. It's a roof cat. I was like, okay, double rainbow guy. But he was enamored with his fame, by the way. He was really big about his fame. I think he liked that he was famous. In what he thought was fame, I guess. Jimmy Kimmel actually gave him a eulogy when he passed away. What's going on, Apache Beard? Cars and cats. All right, do you have some roof cats too? Because that's what Trump was doing up there. He was looking for roof cats. He was looking for roof cats and nuclear missiles. He said there were nuclear missiles up there. Did you hear him? He's like, nuclear missiles? And then he was like, Heil. And then he put up his hand. Did you see that? I'm telling you, that was the weirdest thing. Tell me that wasn't weird. Did anybody watch that video when he was talking on the roof? He was talking about nuclear missiles up on the roof. I know he was trying to make a joke, but that was kind of a dumb joke, especially in light of what's going on. Now, some would say that's 3D. That's 3D Trump. He's trolling Putin. He's telling Putin, "I'm crazy. We'll go to nuclear war. Do you want to go to nuclear war? I got nukes on my roof, and I'm up here looking for the roof cat while I'm at it." You know that crazy cat lady? That's what happens when people have cats. Too many cats, they go cuckoo. And I think Trump might have some roof cats up there. I think that's the problem. He's got some roof cats, and he's got a few nukes up there. He's a few nukes short. I think he needs a few more up there. A few nukes short of a thermonuclear war. Oh, there he is. Okay. Oh my gosh. Ah! Good to see you, man. It's good to see you. All right. Come on. Let's hear it. Let's hear the good news. The good news. What's the good news? We'll be in thermonuclear war. If Russia doesn't listen to what I have to say, it won't be all that long. I won't delay in pushing the button. I've got the nuclear football. I'm going for ooh, look at all that gold. The gold. Precious things. Dainties. Go long for the nuclear. Hail Mary. We're going to throw that nuclear football all the way down. Hail Mary. I hope somebody's down there to catch it. All right, let's hear what he's got to say. Are you guys ready? I got the Bubble Guppy song in my head. My kids love Bubble Guppies. You ever hear that song, Bubble Guppies? Bubble Guppies. Bubble Guppies. My kids, they watch all these little crazy things. Look at this guy. He's like, "Oh, look at this. We're in the White House. Amazing. It's so beautiful. It's all gold. Can I take some of that home as a souvenir?" Well, this is going to be interesting. What do you guys think? He's going to say we're all cooked. Our gooses are cooked. Our chickens, our gooses are cooked. He's late. It's going to be something stupid. That's what I think. It's going to be something dumb. It's all about Apple. Really? I think this is supposed to be about Putin. And the sanctions and everything else. It's all about Apple, somebody said. I don't know. It's going to get you're going to go get your tanning oil, Ralph? Yeah. I think that Trump, you know what, instead of the colognes and the perfumes and all the other grifts, I think the best one would be a bronze gold tanning lotion or bronzing agent. You know how they make you look tan? They put on that coat that makes you look tan, except it'll have like an orange hue to it. It's going to be called the Trumpinator, Trump Notion, Trump Lotion, or whatever you want to call it. We have to get a good name for it. That's what I should do. I should be marketing this like new Trump cologne. Trump. He probably wouldn't like that you use his name. He probably has his name under copyright or something. I bet, huh? A Trump bronzing agent, but it's actually really orange, like an orangish color. That would be a good one. And then you can sell two little coin type things you can put right on your eyes so that when you spray it on, it leaves like two little white circles right around your eyeballs.
Thank you very much.
Okay, here we go. Okay. Shh. Quiet.
You know this gentleman, one of the truly great legends of our time, my book. Before we begin, I'd like to say a few words about the shooting at Fort Stewart in Georgia. As you know, 5 people were seriously wounded and 2 very, very seriously hurt around 11 o'clock this morning. The shooter is now in custody, and the Army Criminal Investigation Division is on site to ensure that the perpetrator of this atrocity, which is exactly what it is, will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The entire nation is praying for the victims and their families, and hopefully they'll fully recover, and we can put this chapter behind, but we're not going to forget what happened. We're going to take very good care of this person that did this, horrible person. This afternoon, we're pleased to welcome to the White House one of the great and most esteemed business leaders and geniuses and innovators anywhere in the world, Apple CEO Tim Cook. It's an amazing job. Thanks as well to Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent and Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick for being here, wherever you may be. Oh, there you are. Hello, fellas. I missed you. Today, Apple is announcing that it will invest $600 billion, that's with a B, in the United States over the next 4 years. That's $100 billion more than they were originally going to invest. And this is the largest investment Apple has ever made in America and anywhere else. And it's just an honor to have you. As you know, Apple's been an investor in other countries a little bit. I won't say which ones, but a couple. And they're coming home. $600 billion. It's the biggest there is. The company is also unveiling its ambitious new American manufacturing program, which will bring factories and assembly lines across our country, all roaring to life. Areas that were not doing so well are doing very well. We have about $17 trillion coming into the United States, which is more than ever before. That's never even come close. There's never been anything like it. Even you, that's even a lot of money for you. But we have commitments of more than $17 trillion. That was as of a couple of weeks ago. These investments will directly create more than 20,000 brand new American jobs and many thousands more at the Apple suppliers like Corning, Broadcom, Texas Instruments, and Samsung, who all deal in that world. As part of this historic commitment, Apple will massively increase spending on its domestic supply chain for the iPhone and will build the largest and most sophisticated smart glass production line in the world in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, which is a great, actually, I did very well there. I like it because I see I did very well there. I did very well in Kentucky, but it's a great place. You're going to be very happy. I thought maybe while we're up, I'll interrupt my own speech by you might show them a little bit about the product that you're going to be doing in Kentucky, Tim.
Absolutely. Do you mind if I step up?
Yes, please.
This bond was made in the U.S., California, and this glass comes off the Corning line. It's engraved for President Trump. It's a unique unit of one. It was designed by a U.S. Marine Corps corporal, a former one, that works at Apple now.
That's good. He's done well.
Designed it for you. And the base comes from Utah and is 24 karat gold. And it sits, I'll take the liberty of setting it up.
Wow.
What about them Trump coins? I want some of those. Pitch some of those Trump coins. Come on, this is the whole world is watching.
There we go. Congratulations,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
President.
It's
Thank you so
fantastic.
much.
The great people of Kentucky. You're going to find it a great place to do business, too. It's fantastic. Isn't that nice? We're doing these things now in the United States instead of other countries, faraway countries. This is a significant step toward the ultimate goal of ensuring that iPhones sold in the United States of America also are made in America with the mass infusion of capital it's announcing today. Apple will also build a 250,000 square foot server manufacturing facility in Houston and invest billions of dollars to construct data centers across the country from North Carolina to Iowa to Oregon. That's big stuff. Apple will also open state-of-the-art manufacturing economy. It's going to be a manufacturing academy in Detroit, and that's a great place to do. Well, you know, big things are happening in Michigan and Detroit. They're coming in because of what we've done with the, I call it the Great Big Beautiful Bill. I added one word, great. But we have probably the biggest, most comprehensive piece of legislation ever passed. It's going to mean unbelievable numbers of jobs and no jobs on, think of this, whether it's tips or overtime or Social Security, no tax. So no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. And there's just a small bit of it. For Apple and others businesses, we're talking about the deductions and all of the things. And actually for people that go out and buy a car, first time it's ever been done, we talk about deductions for companies, but they're going to be able to deduct interest when they borrow money to buy a car if it's made in America. It has to be made in America. So it is amazing. And one of the reasons I think I can say that Apple's coming here is the legislation we just passed with this kind of investment. Apple will also open other facilities, rare earth magnets from Texas, and build, oh, I love that you're doing this. I love that. I love that. And build a brand new rare earth recycling line in Mountain Pass, California. I know that area. That's where they have a lot of truly rare earth. That's fantastic. I love that. And Apple will help develop and manufacture semiconductors and semiconductor equipment in Texas, Utah, Arizona, and New York. For years, Americans have watched as many of our leading tech giants built their factories overseas and exported American jobs abroad. But under the Trump administration, we're doing everything possible to make this the best place on earth to build a factory or grow businesses. I'm allowing them to build electric producing plants with their factory, because otherwise they'd have to hook into the grid. And I think it's one of the biggest things we've done, where you can build, Tim, your own electricity. You become your own electric manufacturer, and that goes along with the plant. So you become a utility. So congratulations, now you're in the utility. I hope they don't value your company based on utility, but that's okay. You're going to be making your own electricity, and as you probably know, for much of this and many of the things that we're doing, especially the AI, they would need actually double the electricity that the country now produces for everything. So it's massive electric, and they're going to be able to make their own, and they're getting very fast approvals. Lee Zeldin is doing a fantastic job, including with a 100% expensing on the one big, beautiful bill. In return, we're asking our businesses to invest in America, and they're coming in at levels that we've never seen before. So I don't know when it shows up, but there are a lot of factories and a lot of plants that are either under construction or soon will be starting construction. So can't tell you exactly when, but I want to be around in about a year from now and 2 years from now, because we're going to see an explosion, I think, like this country has never seen before. Never. Today's announcement is one of the largest commitments in what has become among the greatest investment booms in our nation's history, and we've got the hottest country anywhere in the world. You know, I told you the story that, and Tim, I'll tell you, but I went to the Middle East, and I was with Qatar, I was with UAE, and the King of Saudi Arabia, all great leaders. And then I went to NATO and saw many great leaders, and we just finished that about 4 weeks ago. Virtually everyone said, in effect, that we were a dead country 1 year ago. America, this was a dead country. We were dying, we were dead. And now you've got the hottest country anywhere in the world. This would have never happened except for certain people. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. NVIDIA is investing $500 billion to go along with Apple's $600 billion. $600 billion. Micron, great company, is investing $200 billion. IBM is investing more than $150 billion. SoftBank is investing substantially more than $100 billion. TSMC is investing $200 billion. Johnson & Johnson, $55 billion. Merck, Stellantis, and General Motors are putting many, many billions in. They haven't determined the final number. And many other countries are investing tens of billions of dollars, and I'm not going to give you the whole list because the list is too long to read. But it's hundreds of billions and even trillions. I mean, it's trillions of dollars that's being invested right now. Last week, it was announced that our economy grew at 3% in the second quarter, and consumer confidence is surging. Blue-collar wages are rising rapidly. Costs are way down. You know, I listen to these horrendous frauds on CNN and various other fake news networks, and they say costs are up. No, costs are down. Gasoline is down. It's going to soon, I believe, be less than $2 a gallon. It's around $2.40 right now, many places, other than in California where they tax you out of business, but and a couple of others. But gasoline is way down. The price of groceries are down. How about eggs? When I first came here, my first week, the press hit me very hard on eggs. Eggs had quadrupled or something. I said, I didn't know about it. Give me a chance. I've just been here for 4 days. Well, eggs are down. Everything's down. Price is down. The only thing that's up is stock prices. That's really up, and that's through the roof. The stock market has been hitting all-time records, all-time highs. Last week it was announced that our economy grew at levels that we haven't seen in a long time, but the real levels of growth are going to be judged in a year from now when you start seeing some of these incredible plants, because we have car plants opening. They're coming in from Canada, from Mexico, and from all over the world. And they're coming in because they like the way the election worked out, but they also like the fact that they don't want to pay tariffs. And the tariffs, I think, will be we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. I won't be so specific other than to say, because we don't even know what the final number is. We just made a deal, as you know, with the EU where they're paying hundreds of billions of dollars. Japan paying hundreds of billions of dollars, and numerous other countries paying hundreds of billions of dollars. And we're not even completed there. And as you know, they found $25 billion 3 weeks ago. They said, we have a surplus of $25 billion. And they said, where did this come from? I said, check the tariffs. And they checked. They said, you're right. That's where it came from. And we've really just started. This is just in its infancy. So we have a great country. We have a country that is going to be very rich. It's a country that we're very proud of, but it's going to be very rich. And it's companies like Apple, they're coming home. They're all coming home. And we want them to come home. They have to come home. We're going to treat them really well. We're going to be putting a very large tariff on chips and semiconductors. But the good news for companies like Apple is if you're building in the United States or have committed to build, without question committed to build in the United States, there will be no charge. In other words, we're not going to be charging. So a lot of countries, a lot of companies are leaving various other places and they're coming to the United States. So in other words, we'll be putting a tariff on of approximately 100% on chips and semiconductors. But if you're building in the United States of America, there's no charge, even though you're building and you're not producing yet in terms of the big numbers of jobs and all of the things that you're building. If you're building, there will be no charge. So I just want everyone to know that. And I didn't even tell you that inside. We discussed the concept, but I didn't. So it's a big factor. So 100% tariff on all chips and semiconductors coming into the United States. But if you've made a commitment to build, or if you're in the process of building, as many are, there is no tariff. Okay? If for some reason you say you're building and you don't build, then we go back and we add it up, it accumulates, and we charge you at a later date. You have to pay, and that's a guarantee. So that's a big statement, and I think the chip companies are all coming back home. They're all coming back. You know, we started with Intel, and gradually Intel was just taken over the coals. They were taken to the cleaners, frankly, and moved to other places, in particular Taiwan. But I think a lot of those A lot of those companies are coming back, and they're coming back very rapidly, so that's a big statement, 100% tariff. I want to thank you very much. Tim, would you like to say a few words about your company, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. President, thank you very much for having me here today. You've been a great advocate for American innovation and manufacturing, and I'm grateful for your leadership and your commitment. That's a commitment we share at Apple because American innovation is central to everything we do. Our products are designed here, we're hiring and growing here, and we support 450,000 jobs with thousands of suppliers and partners in all 50 states. Earlier this year, we made our largest ever spending commitment, $500 billion to the U.S. over the next 4 years. That's already yielding results. Earlier this year, we broke ground on a new factory in Houston to make advanced AI servers. And just last month, the very first test unit rolled off that factory's line, proudly made in America. President Trump shared some kind words about that work, but he also asked us to think about what more we could commit to doing. And Mr. President, we took that challenge very seriously. I'm glad to be here with you today, and I'm very proud to say that today we're committing an additional $100 billion to the United States, bringing our total U.S. investment to $600 billion over the next 4 years. As a part of this, we're launching Apple's American Manufacturing Program. It will spur even more production right here in America for critical components used in Apple products all around the world. And we're thrilled to announce that we've already signed new agreements with 10 companies across America to do just that. First, with today's announcements, I'm proud to say that Apple is leading the creation of an end-to-end silicon supply chain right here in America, from design to equipment to wafer production to fabrication to packaging. In Texas, we're working with manufacturers like Texas Instruments, Global Wafers America, and Applied Materials. We're working with Amcor in Arizona and Broadcom and Global Foundries in New York. Thanks to President Trump's vision, and with his help in his first term, we also led the way to bring TSMC to Arizona, our first and largest customer. Today, they're producing tens of millions of chips for Apple using one of the most advanced process technologies in America today. We're going to keep working with our suppliers to move even more of this incredibly advanced work to America. And this year alone, American manufacturers are on track to make 19 billion chips for Apple in 24 factories across 12 different states. Second, we're committed to buying American-made advanced rare earth magnets developed by MP Materials, which will become part of Apple's devices shipped around the world. MP is the only fully integrated rare earth producer in the United States, and with this partnership, they'll be significantly expanding their flagship facility in Fort Worth, Texas. We're also thrilled to work together on a cutting-edge rare earth recycling line in Mountain Pass, California. And third, in Kentucky, we've worked with our partners at Corning to build the world's largest and most advanced smartphone glass production line. And I'm pleased to announce that very soon, this is for the first time ever, every single new iPhone and every single new Apple Watch sold anywhere in the world will contain cover glass made in Kentucky. In addition to the American Manufacturing Program, we're also significantly growing our investments in AI, including expanding data center capacity in North Carolina, in Nevada, in Iowa, in Arizona, and Oregon. So we're going to keep making investments right here in America. We're going to keep hiring in America. And we're going to keep building technologies at the heart of our products right here in America, because we're a proud American company and we believe deeply in the promise of this great nation. Thank you all, and thank you, President Trump, for putting American innovation and American jobs front and center. Thank you, sir.
Great honor.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. What a job he's done. What a job. Incredible. I want to thank you very much, and thank you, JD, for helping along. Good job, really good job. Any questions, please?
Mr. President,
Yes.
you promised on the campaign trail to bring forth a manufacturing renaissance. You just mentioned $17 trillion in your first 7 months or so.
Right.
Can you talk about how an investment like this, all the other ones that you laid out, will positively impact the millions of Americans that trusted you with their vote?
Thank you very much. It changes our country. I mean, our country is a very different country than it was 6 months ago. And people like Tim are coming. We had Micron in yesterday. We had all of the big, great companies that you read about, you don't know about, but you read about. Many of them were making products outside of our country. Foolishly, we lost them. If we had the right person sitting in that seat, that would have never happened 20 and 30 years ago. When you look at the chip business, it would have never left our shores. We had 100% of chips originally, and then we slowly got taken down to nothing. We have the both of them, but we have the biggest in the world coming in. They're going to Arizona and beyond. And we're going to have, in a short period of time, we'll be up to almost 50% of the chips from starting in nothing. And that's something. But we have the greatest companies in the world coming into our country. And that means jobs, and it means wealth. And wealth means security for our people. Okay? Brian?
Yes, sir. Congratulations on this investment, President Trump.
Thank you.
With a great example of putting America first. What does the labor force look like to fill these jobs that you have? Do we have enough skilled American workers to fill these?
Well, we do have a lot of workers, and we have a lot of workers that hadn't been looking for work because they were disincentivized, frankly. And people like Tim have tremendous schools and training centers that they build along with a lot of their big plants where they train people on whether it's glass, like in Kentucky, or computers, or whatever they might be doing. It's a complex world, and they train people, and they do a great job. So it's a whole new workforce. Now, we have a lot of them in energy because, you know, they've always liked energy. As you know, coal has opened up big. We brought it back and brought it back in a very large way. You know, China's right now building 58 coal-fired plants, 58 big ones. And here we were saying we don't take coal. We have more coal than anybody else in the world. We have more oil and gas than anybody else in the world. But we have tremendous energy jobs, and the energy, as you know, we're booming with energy. And that's why the gasoline prices are down. The costs are down. I just hope when they watch these shows, I watch this, I won't use names because I just make them better known that nobody knows who they are. But I watch this group of people on CNN and MSDNC too, the same thing, where they say, well, costs have gone up. Costs haven't gone up, they've gone down. I'm telling you, the thing that's gone up is stock prices, and success of our country. Our country is really, really doing well, successful. Yes, ma'am?
Yes, Mr. President, have Putin and Zelensky agreed to a summit yet? And where and when would that be?
Well, there's a very good prospect that they will. And we haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today. And there's a very good chance that we could be ending the round, ending the end of that road. That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
How close do you think you are to a deal?
Excuse me?
How close do you think you are to some kind of deal?
Well, I don't want to say. I've been disappointed before.
24 hours. 24 hours.
5 wars, plus add to that Iran, where we wiped out their nuclear capacity for weapons. They would have had a weapon within 2 months, maybe less, and that was totally obliterated. Turned out it was a total obliteration, and the pilots and the people that did that job are really, we have the greatest armed forces in the world, but that was really something. In fact, there's a model of the plane right there. So, you got to bring that up, Susie. We have to see that. Look at this. This was just given to me. You know, we ordered brand new B-2 bombers. This is a plane that over a period of 36 hours of constant flying. Look at this. This is the brand new one they just ordered. Similar, but actually quite different. It's new and enhanced.
It's a plane.
It's an amazing machine. Went 36 hours. We had 52 tankers up in the air loading up our planes because this was surrounded by F-22s and F-35s, and it was flawless, Tim. Even you would say it was flawless. And every one of those bombs hit their target. And then we had Tomahawks shot in from a submarine 300 miles away, and they hit every single Tomahawk hit its target. It was amazing. And that was a big threat. That was a nuclear threat. And here's the new one that we just ordered, a large number of them. I'll put it up.
Mr. President, what was the breakthrough today? Did Vladimir Putin make some kind of concession that he hasn't been willing to make before?
I don't call it a breakthrough. I mean, we've been working on this a long time. There are thousands of young people dying, mostly soldiers, but also, missiles being hit into Kiev and other places. But in terms of soldiers, I think Russia's lost over 20,000 since the beginning of the year. 20,000. And I guess the estimate for Ukraine is about 9,000. It's a terrible situation. We want to get it stopped. We don't have American soldiers there, but I feel I have an obligation to get it stopped. This was not my war. This war would have never started, not even a chance. And it didn't start for 4 years. It went 4 years and didn't start. But this is Biden's war. This was on his watch. And, it's funny, we had no land was taken from Trump. It was taken from Bush. It was taken from Biden. The whole thing they would take from Biden if it weren't for us. But it was taken by Obama. Take a look at what was taken with all of the land that was taken. Nothing was taken by Russia from us. Not 1 ounce of land was taken. I'm here to get the thing over with. It would have never started if I were president, and we're here to get it stopped and get the death stopped. Yeah, please.
President, in the past, you said you would know if Putin was passing you along. What gives you any confidence that he is or isn't doing that this time around?
Can't answer the question yet. I'll tell you in a matter of weeks, maybe less. But we've made a lot of progress. And as you know, we put a 50% tariff on India on oil. They're the second largest. They're very close to China in terms of the purchase of oil from Russia. But so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But we've had very productive talks today. Yes, ma'am?
President Trump, on federalizing D.C., are you considering taking over the D.C. police? Is that an option on the table?
We're considering it, yeah, because the crime is ridiculous. I could show you a chart comparing D.C. to other locations, and you're not going to want to see what it looks like. It was just up on television, actually. They were showing it. Now, we want to have a great, safe capital, and we're going to have it. And that includes cleanliness and it includes other things. We have a capital that's very unsafe. We just almost lost a young man, beautiful, handsome guy that got the hell knocked out of him the night before last. And I'm going to call him now. We wanted to give him a little recovery time. We just put a call into him. They're calling back in a little while, but he went through a bad situation, to put it mildly, and there's too much of it. We're gonna do something about it. So whether you call it federalized or what, and that also includes the graffiti that you see, the papers all over the place, the roads that are in bad shape, the medians that are falling down, the median in between roads that's falling down. We're going to beautify the city. We're going to make it beautiful. And what a shame. The rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else, we're not going to let it. And that includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too.
And do you want Congress to look at overturning the D.C. Home Rule Act?
We're going to look at that. In fact, the lawyers are already studying it. We have to run D.C. This has to be the best-run place in the country, not the worst-run place in the country. And it has so much potential. And we're going to take care of it. You're going to be safe. You're going to be safe walking down streets. You're not going to get mugged.
Mr. President, if you do reach a deal with Ukraine and Russia, would you drop the additional tariffs on India?
Well, we'll determine that later. But right now they're paying a 50% tariff. Okay.
Yeah, please. One for Mr. Cook as well. On
yeah, please. Sure.
The president wants a made-in-the-USA iPhone. What are the chances that you can actually make that happen?
Well, if you look at the bulk of it, we're doing a lot of the semiconductors here. We're doing the glass here. We're doing the Face ID module here. And so there's a ton of it. And we're doing these for products sold elsewhere in the world. And so there's a lot of content in there from the United States.
But what about the whole thing?
We're very proud of it.
Can you make the whole thing
is
here?
just the final assembly that you're focused on. And that will be elsewhere for a while.
He makes many of the components here, and we've been talking about it, and the whole thing is set up at other places, and it's been there for a long time. So in terms of cost and all, but I think we may incentivize him enough that one day he'll be bringing that. But he brings most of the stuff. Look, he's not making this kind of an investment anywhere in the world, not even close. He's coming back. I mean, Apple's coming back to America. Thank you.
Mr. President, Indian officials have said that there are other countries that are buying Russian oil.
It's okay.
Like China, for instance,
It's
buys
okay.
more.
Yeah.
Why are you singling India out for these additional sanctions?
It's only been 8 hours. So let's see what happens over the next.
More secondary sanctions
you're going
very
to see a lot
soon.
more.
So this is a taste of
You're
what's
going to
to
see a
come.
lot more. You're
Mr.
going to see so much
You were the driving-
secondary sanctions. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, you were the driving force behind Operation Warp Speed, these mRNA vaccines that are the gold standard.
Right.
Now your health secretary is pulling back all the funding for research. He's saying that the risks outweigh the benefits, which puts him at odds with
Research
the
on
entire
what?
medical community and with you. What is going
Yeah.
on
Research on what?
into mRNA vaccines?
Well, we're going to look at that. We're talking about it, and they're doing a very good job. And, you know, that is a past. Operation Warp Speed was, whether you're Republican or Democrat, considered one of the most incredible things ever done in this country. The efficiency, the way it was done, the distribution, everything about it has been amazing. But, you know, that was now a long time ago. And we're on to other things. But we are speaking about it. We have meetings about it tomorrow at 12 o'clock, and we'll determine. We're looking for other answers to other problems, to other sicknesses and diseases, and I think we're doing really well. Yes, ma'am, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said many times that you want to stop wars in the Middle East. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu is contemplating reoccupying Gaza entirely. Is he defying you, sir, or are you giving him a green light?
Well, we have stopped wars in the Middle East by stopping Iran from having a nuclear weapon, and they're they can say they're going to start all over again, but that's a very dangerous thing for them to do, because we'll be back. As soon as they start, we'll be back. And I think they understand that. They're just words. But no, we've stopped a lot of wars in the Middle East. If you think about what we did with Iran, Iran was the perpetrator of hate, a very evil place, and I think it's going to be a lot different in the coming years.
Mr. President, on the India penalties, do you have any similar plans to enact more tariffs on China as it relates
Could
to their
happen.
purchases?
Could happen. Depends on how we do. Could happen.
Brian, yes, I've got an entertainment-based question for you. A few weeks ago, Stephen Colbert announced that he was leaving his show. Howard Stern announced that him and Sirius XM Radio are parting ways. Do you think the hate Trump business model that's been in the entertainment business is going out of business because it's not popular with the American people?
Well, it hasn't worked, and it hasn't worked really for a long time, and I would say pretty much from the beginning. Colbert has no talent. I mean, I could take anybody here. I could go outside on the beautiful streets and pick up a couple of people that do just as well or better. They get higher ratings than he did. He's got no talent. Fallon has no talent. Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going. I hear they're going to be going. I don't know, but I would imagine because they get, Colbert has better ratings than Kimmel or Fallon. You know that. Howard Stern, it's a name I haven't heard. I used to do a show, used to have fun, but I haven't heard that name in a long time. What happened? He got terminated?
Yeah, they're going to separate ways because I think what they're offering salary-wise is real low than what he's getting.
You know when he went down?
Whenever you want.
You know when he went down? No, before. When he endorsed Hillary Clinton, he lost his audience. People said, give me a break. He went down when he endorsed Hillary Clinton.
Mr. President,
Have you talked to Governor Cuomo? Started interviewing Fed candidates yet?
Yeah, we've started the interviewing process. Scott and I and Howard, a lot of people, JD, we have some great candidates. It's probably down to 3. He doesn't want the job. He said, do you like this job better?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he was a candidate, but I don't think he'll take it.
Are there
I
any
don't.
candidates
I really
from-
don't think he'd take it.
Are there
Actually,
any candidates from Wall Street, Mr. President?
yeah. Essentially, we're all from Wall Street, aren't we? You know, when you get right down to it, the term Wall Street. Yeah, please.
Yep, you made your tax cuts permanent. You mentioned that the tariffs are bringing in a ton of external revenue. You've opened up markets, the EU, Japan, South Korea, many others, to American goods like we've never seen before. How much growth can we expect in the economy now that this model of yours is sort of beginning to really take off?
Well, I think the growth is going to be unprecedented. I think we're going to have growth that's unbelievable. Now, remember, we're building and just starting to build a lot of these incredible plants. We talked about the electric facilities that we're building, the generating plants, electric generating plants. Are massive, and they're going to be great. And they're going to sell excess electricity into our grid. So we're going to be having much more electricity than we ever had. And those plants are going to be taken care of individually. I know Tim is building one in one of his big factories, but especially for AI because it needs so much electricity. So I appreciate the question very much. And I think the growth is going to be unprecedented.
Did you have a phone call with Andrew Cuomo? Did you speak to Andrew Cuomo?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Mr. President, have you been briefed on what Ghislaine Maxwell told Todd Blanche?
No, I haven't. Have
You
not.
don't know whether
I don't
came
know.
up in the
I know Todd
conversation
is
or
a very
not?
respected person all over the country, all over the world legally, so I don't know.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Will the new Fed governor be temporary?
We're probably going to go with a temp and then a permanent, I think.
Are the two
So the temp is going to be named, I'd say, over the next 2-3 days, and then we're going to go permanent.
Are the two Kevins the leading contenders for the permanent spot for the chair?
Well, the two Kevins? The two Kevins are absolutely, yeah. They're both very good.
Mr. President.
The two Kevins is very good.
Mr. President, is Vice President Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think here's the man right here.
I saw it reported today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country. And that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit. Okay? Yeah, please.
A new Gallup poll says that Elon Musk is the most unpopular public figure in the country right now. I'm wondering, do you miss having him around the White House, or is that poll accurate?
I don't know if the poll's accurate. I think he's a good person. I think he had a bad moment, really bad moment. But he's a good person. I believe that.
President Trump, are you keeping that 10 to 12 day deadline?
China facing potential secondary sanctions for
Yeah.
Russian oil. Them having that tariff or sanction rather or not hinges on what going forward?
It may happen. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you yet, but we did it with India. We're doing it probably with a couple of others. One of them could be China. Yes.
Are you keeping that 10 to 12 day deadline that you had given Russia after today's talks?
Yeah, we're pretty much getting close to it right now, but we're having very serious talks right now about getting out of Ukraine, getting it settled, getting it ended. Should have never started, would have never started. If I were president, it would have never started. I want to thank Tim Cook. He's a great, great man, a visionary, a businessman, just about every quality he can have other than athleticism. I don't know about that. I'm looking at him. I'm not 100% sure about you. You're a good athlete. I'll bet you're pretty good. I think he's good at everything, but I want to thank you very much, Tim. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks, guys. Right here. Cut it out. Thank you, guys.
Good.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, guys.
All right. So, what in the world? All right. So, I had a little laughing moment there for a little bit. I couldn't stop laughing. Trump, literally, he just seemed like a cartoon for me for some reason. It was almost like I was sitting there watching a cartoon. everything he was saying. Now, I don't doubt that what Trump is doing is bringing about, and biblically speaking, prophetically, if I were to say, as I have talked to you guys in depth on this topic of Trump and Elon with all this technology being a part of that end time global network of, juggernaut that basically causes the world to capitulate to a certain degree. Now, the king of the north and the king of the east don't go along with it, because it says that news from the north and from the kings of the east trouble him at a certain point. But he seems to have pretty much dominance over the rest of the world. And everything he does, it says, will succeed until the time when everything comes to a head. And that's when everything culminates. So I don't doubt that Trump's not going to be successful. So don't get me wrong. I think there's going to be a period where things might seem to be prospering and mellowing out, but that's going to be the time when everything comes down. The controls, the noose is going to be tightened on. But I do think there's going to be trouble in the midst, because it's going to cause many people to fear, to give up their freedoms, to go along with the control grid, because literally this technology is so Orwellian. I just can't even begin to tell you, and I know most people don't get how deeply connected to your physical bodies this technology is, or how Orwellian it truly is. When you talk about nanotech, and did you see how when he was taught, when they were asking him questions about the vaccine? Listen, the mRNAs, they know that people are repelled by the term mRNA. That's why they were putting out this notice via the staffing of the White House to get rid of all the terminology that relates to mRNA on all the official sites. But they need that technology, because that technology is the basis and the foundation for what's happening. And even though that there's a lot of bad fallout from the vaccines, because they were all based in mRNA, they still want that technology and all the other. There's at least 120 more vaccines that they're not covered under the respiratory mRNAs. So they're only 86ing 22 of them. The other 120 or 30 are still on the board, and he's talking. Did you see how he was praising how this new technology is going to help heal people, right? He's going to cure diseases. That's all mRNA. So the mRNA is not going anywhere. Believe me. That all is sticking around, and all that nanotech that goes along with it, that probably, had those effects on people's, clotting and heart attacks and millions of people. They can justify it and say, well, we saved billions. But who would ever know? Even if there wasn't, maybe people wouldn't have died if they wouldn't have taken that. There might have been people dying, but not by the millions, because there were literally millions of people that died all around the world, and here in our own country from blood clots. I mean, there was a gal just 2 days ago. Big movie star, 33 years old. She just got turbo cancer. Within a few months, she's dead, and her whole team during the filming of her, whatever it was, not a sitcom, but some kind of a series, Netflix series, had to take the vaccines. So she was compelled to take the vaccines, and she ended up just dying like 3 or 4 days ago. She's 33 years old. Oh, by the way, 33. There you go, another 30. There's a lot of interesting messaging going on there. When he talks about everything blowing up, the first thought that came to my mind was mushroom cloud, because it does talk about how everything's going to be peace and security, and there's going to be a lot of talk about peace and security, and he gains a lot of power and influence over the global chessboard through flatteries and through, leveraging the authority and the power of the U.S. And this is exactly what's happening. But at a certain point, it comes to a head, because there are other nations that don't go along with it, namely China, Russia, and it looks like maybe India too. Maybe India won't go along with it. Those are pretty large. That represents a pretty large percentage of the global population when you really think about how many people are in all those countries. And all the other ones, Brazil. You've got a lot of other countries that are on board with the BRICS that are going to be standing back afar, watching what goes on here as things go up in smoke, which I think at a certain point they do. And this is all, speculation, if you want to call it that, but prophetically you're looking at a timeline that I don't think anybody really has hard and fast interpretation. But, as these things begin to unfold, you're going to know at that point. Right now, he didn't really say a whole lot about Russia. I find that to be very interesting. But the tariffs are coming down heavy and hard on India. And India is very, very connected to what's going on with the Russia thing. Now, a lot of other countries are getting oil, European countries, from Russia or from India, because they're channeling it through India, and then India's channeling it out, probably pricing it up and trying to make a profit on it. Because, Russian oil is very cheap. And so they probably mark it up to sell it to the global market, not to mention the shadow fleet of the Russian exporting operation that they want to shut down as well. But Trump's still giving that timeline of the deadline here to see what's going to happen. So he's not really saying anything hard and fast, but I don't know. It's very shadowy. I don't hear a whole lot. So we're going to probably hear more now from Russia and Putin and see what they have to say. I think that's what's going to be next, is we're going to find out exactly what Russia's statements are, because they didn't want to put anything out before Trump had put out his statement. And I think they did that on purpose to find out exactly what he's really thinking. And then they're going to adjust their statements, I guess, accordingly, probably. It's just a battle of propaganda, really, if you really come down to it. Perceptions and moving the pieces on the chessboard all around, trying to anticipate the next move or the next three-dimensional chess move that Trump is going to do. And I think that's what Russia's doing right now, is they're wanting to preempt and they're wanting to anticipate, and they have to be ahead of us because we've got a lot of, technology that could decapitate them. Decapitate. That's why they're so worried right now, is that they're thinking that it's going to be something similar to what happened with Iran. And Trump wants that image to be, burned and seared in their heads anyway. So you might have the Russian government kind of feeling a little bit uneasy right at the moment, but that's why they made those statements about the dead hand option. If ever there was a decapitation operation against Russian leadership, that would automatically initiate the launching of all their nukes. And that statement was made it was very calculated, because I believe the Russian intelligence knows that the NATO and the U.S. are making moves militarily right now. There are military moves being made right now, all throughout Eastern Europe, all throughout Europe, but especially in Eastern Europe, and all these operations and these drills and everything that are happening. I mean, and the things that are going on with Israel at the same time. I mean, you got so many moving parts and pieces right now. And the Russians are still moving forward. They're still making gains. They're still taking territory, and they're getting to a point where they're going to cut off a lot of communication and supply chain lines here, and they're going to be taking a huge amount of territory when they do that. They're the more time that they are given, the more they're going to take. And they could very well take a big portion of Ukraine if we don't stop them. And this is why I think Trump had postponed that 50-day ultimatum down to 10 because he knew that this had to come to a head very quickly because there's not enough time for 50 days. In 50 days, Russia may be taking huge portions of Ukraine, and then it would be too late. There's a lot of reasons why they don't want Russia to take any more of Ukraine, and a lot of strategic reasons and a lot of reasons that might mean that a lot of them men are going to flip over onto the Russian side once the Russians do get in there. And you could see the whole country flip back and be, become loyal to Russia, because I think that Ukrainians are fed up this whole thing of what's been going on, all the war that's been going on. And the way they've been just taking and pushing people into the front lines that didn't want to go. I think they've lost a huge portion of their population anyway. That's young males, pretty much all but extinct. They're having to go with women and old men, and probably taking teenagers out there now that are really young. Who knows? But it's getting to that point. I mean, you've got all kinds of mercenaries in there now, and Russians even captured 2 high-level intelligence operatives that were, in Ukraine, that were captured, and they're probably going to be tried. They're probably being tortured right now and getting all kinds of information out of them about their NATO's operations. But these are high-level NATO guys that were British, I think, and they had all kinds of information on them that compromised some operations, I think, for NATO. So that's all huge news. I mean, there's so much but we don't even know, but that's going on. But I find it interesting that Trump didn't say a whole lot about it. That means it didn't go well. And I'm interested to hear what Putin's going to say now, to see. So, anyways, I guess we're going to hold back and see what goes down and listen to some more news as time goes on. I got to go do some things here a little bit. I'll probably be back a little bit later. I got to go sacrifice some more chickens. No, actually, I am butchering them. I'm not sacrificing them, but they are being offered up. I do thank God for everyone that we have. They're organic. There's nothing added to them. No mRNAs, no hormones, no steroids. They don't eat modified crickets or whatever they feed them. GMO garbage. So we got lots of chicken. And, it's a cheaper way to go too, but why not? If you got a little bit of property to do that on, I guess it's a good thing, right? And my gate, got to go out there and build that gate. I'm thinking I might do some of that tonight. Who knows? But anyways, guys, thank you for bearing with me, especially when I had my laughing fit here. I did have a moment where I couldn't stop laughing. Not only your comments, not only the comments that were being posted in the chat were so hilarious, but Trump in and of himself was causing, and just everything that, all the memes and everything that I've heard, and just everything just seemed to just yell, this is a meme president. He's literally, oh gosh. I mean, I'm not saying he's not Wile E. Coyote. I mean, he is obviously very adept at, taking advantage and leveraging things. I mean, he was great at it. I mean, look, he leveraged bankruptcy on his own failed businesses. I don't know how many times, and he still kept the image of being rich, even though he didn't have money. I mean, he had assets that he was leveraging, but, and he would lose, and he would be in the hole, millions of dollars, and then he would come back because, the name Trump was obviously a name that people equated with, but that was the whole thing about images. It's all what you perceive. It's all what you project. You speak positive. You never speak negative, even when you're, bankrupt. And you can go bankrupt, 8? I think he did 8 bankruptcies over the last, 20 years? So he's never really had a successful business except for the fact that it's successful, branding and maybe marketing and maybe his ability to just keep talking, faking it until he makes it. But he's really rich now since he came into office because he made billions of dollars in 72 hours. That's probably the most he's ever made in his whole entire life. He must have made at least $10 billion within 72 hours with that coin. And people don't realize how much money he made on that coin. I mean, I don't think Trump's ever been worth more than maybe a couple billion at the most. I think he's probably been maybe a billion or two. But he made literally probably 10 billion plus, because that whole $75 billion market cap crashed down to like $25, $30 from a high of 75 within about a 72-hour period. It went up, and then they dumped, and it went down, and then it just kept going down to like $9 a coin. So you know where all that money went? Does anybody know where all that money went? It went into those few accounts that were all Trump controlled. Just so you know. And Melania coin, same thing. The Melania coin, same thing. So it wasn't as huge as Trump's. I mean, that never before ever seen. He didn't even have to do all that other stuff with the gold watches and the gold shoes and the gold cologne and all the NFT cards. He didn't need to even do that. That was probably a schmidgen. That was probably like 1/10,000th of how much money he made in just that 72 hours, right as he was coming in as president. All of that money that he made, doing all those ads on Fox News ad nauseum. Anytime you listen to Fox News, all you hear was the Trump coins, the Trump cologne, Trump this, Trump that, Trump selling this, Trump selling that, Trump selling this. These are limited versions. These are limited editions. And it's like, what? Like, this is like the most monetized presidency I've ever heard in my entire life. I wonder what people think. Well, it's because he's a businessman. He's allowed to do all this because he's a businessman. But when you talk about scam coins, that's what they call it, a scam coin. It's a certain type of coin that only people that are scammers use. Doesn't that bother you a little bit out there at all? They call them scam coins and also crap coins. I'm making it a nicer name. They call it crap coin. It starts with an S though. It's not called. Okay, so you're talking about scam coins, and they also call them meme coins, MEM, because they're jokes. It's a joke. There's no regulations on these. That's why people get scammed, because there's no regulation. One account can own all like 80% of the coins, and then everybody that funnels in. That's why the Hawk-Tuah girl got all kinds of backlash, because a whole bunch of people lost money, and she made millions and millions of dollars on this coin, and then she had to apologize, and she had to and that was just a few million. That was only a few million. I don't know how much millions she made, but that was nothing compared to what Trump did. And yet she had to apologize and give back a bunch of that money, and then she looks totally stupid for having stole all that money by her scam coin, the Hawk-Tuah coin, Hawk-Tuah girl. And if you don't know who the Hawk-Tuah girl is, you'll understand what category of scam and grift and gross this is. Gross grift category. Scam coin, crap coin, meme coin. That's what it is. Unregulated. It's what people do when they want to steal your money. Oh, but it's okay. He's a businessman. And he's into crypto. We're going to put millions of dollars because we think it's going to go skyrocketing because it's Trump and we love him. Well, just consider it a donation because you weren't going to make nothing. You know how many people lost millions of dollars? People were putting millions of dollars into that thing. It's like people that probably didn't understand crypto. They thought this was a crypto thing, like they thought this was a crypto coin. Honey, how much do we got in the account? Oh, about $1 million. Well, it's going to go up really high. Let's put it all in there. And they put $1 million in. We love Trump. And then, bam, it was all gone overnight. It just reminds me of that South Park meme where they're trying to teach. His dad's trying to teach Kenny, or not Kenny, one of the South Park kids, how to invest. Go to the bank, put your money in. We'll put it in there for stocks, and bam, and then he goes, and it's gone. And he's like, "What do you mean it's gone?" He's like, "We just invested it into stocks and bonds, but it's gone. It's a very volatile market." And his dad gets all pissed off. He gave him $100 to invest in a bank account, and he put it in a CD or some kind of bond, and it crashed, and it instantly gone. Did you ever see that? Anyways, I'm done. God bless. Hopefully, our show doesn't go off the air like old Scott, what was his name? Stephen Colbert and yeah, they all, they're all liberals anyway. They're not really getting to the gist of what's really going on anyway. They're just there to make fun. And a lot of what they're saying is funny at certain points. But they've got enough of their own garbage and their own lostness. They don't see the big picture, and fame only lasts a short time anyway, So, what's his name? Howard Stern should have been gone a long time ago. Stephen Colbert, he's pretty funny. I think he's a smart guy. He's got a lot of wit, and he's intelligent. But he does have some pretty scandalous things too. But all those guys, all those comedians, all those entertainers, they all need to go away anyway. A lot of them need, their fame is, their 15 minutes is up. They need to go bye-bye anyway, And everybody has their little moment in the sun. The more sacrifices you make, I guess, the better. The longer you have, the more adrenochrome you shoot up, or whatever, bigger grifts. The more power you gain, the longer you're gonna, the bigger the sacrifice, the longer you're gonna stick around. So, and maybe that's why certain ones continue. Kind of like George Soros. he just lived on and on, or like not Nixon, but what was his name? Nixon's hatchet man. What the heck was his name? The Jewish dude that talked like this. What was his name? I forgot his name. He died finally. He was like 100 and I don't know. These guys lived so long. I'm just kind of wondering, like, what kept these guys alive so long? Hold on, somebody just sent me this. Let me see what this is. Let me read these articles. Trump says that he may, quote, very quickly deploy National Guard in D.C. Yeah, so there's going to be some kind of big takeover of infrastructure within D.C., setting precedents, I'm sure, for other cities that are out of control. I'm sure they'll start just commandeering cities here and there as they see fit, as they show how good of a job they're doing in D.C., right? How quickly they cleaned up the streets and sent all those homeless people to, alligator Alcatrazes or whatever, homeless camps that they've made with the FEMA title over the top. Work leads to freedom. You're here at your freedom camp. This is your freedom ghetto. You come in and you work a little bit and you'll earn your freedom. Isn't that what it said at Dockenhow? What do they call it? You know what I'm talking about. Places that had all those nice little warm places where they could warm their hands, those nice hot ovens. Yeah, right when you walked in, it said, work leads to freedom, giving them hope, Got to give them some hope, even though we know what's going to really happen to them all. Your 15-minute freedom city. Can't wait. Digital ghetto. Throwing us all into the digital ghettos with AI, controlling all aspects of communications and who can hear and who can't hear. Let me just there's a whole bunch of news. I'm going to go back and do the news later on. I'm not going to go through all the news right now. There's a big old list of news I could go through, and I'm just kind of looking at the whole thing here. But we'll talk about it later, okay? Guys, God bless, and I will see you back on the flip side. Got to get to work. See ya. And by the way, hit that pledge drive, become a member, subscribe, and do everything you can to get this message out. Share it far and wide. Pray for our channel. Pray for me. Pray for my family. Pray for the world. The world needs to wake up. Everybody's asleep. Man, I'm telling you, this is the great apostasy. Now, what you're watching happen scripturally is actually what it says in Thessalonians. There's going to be a great falling away, and at that time, that man is revealed, right? It says that's when he's revealed, is when there's a great apostasy. So I see this great apostasy happening right now, unfortunately. So hopefully you're not one of those who are falling asleep. As he said, dead. Everything was dead. Dead, dead, dead. Everything was dead. But now, as the phoenix is rising up and the golden age is here, you're all having a Luciferian initiation into the new age of light. This is the false light, though. Don't listen to the wrong light. The Bible says if the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? Exceedingly dark. Do not follow the wrong light. The angel of light is not the Son of the Most High, the true light that lights every man, the true light of the world. That's the light you want to follow. Not the angel of light. That's a deception. It's a lie. You know, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil wasn't a good place. It promises enlightenment, but it's going to lead you straight to the hot place. So run to the Lord and resist the devil, it says, and he'll flee from you. Draw near to God, and he'll draw near to you. Amen? That's my good word for you for the rest of the day, and I'll be back with some more. God bless.